You see that right there? That's my friend Timotei, cave diving under the Master Chief. And this is a cave diving horror story rabbit hole. Recently, a peculiar trend has emerged on the internet, which shows people cave diving in random places. These videos often portray cave divers as reckless thrill seekers willing to squeeze into impossibly tight spaces like a small mouse, in spite of the inherent dangers of the hobby that we all know. Cave, scary, hole, troglodyte. Now, personally, I have no idea what drives people into this hobby. I'm from Front Royal, Virginia, which is like a town in Northern Virginia that's known for caverns, and the Shenandoah Valley has a bunch of caverns, Skyline Caverns, all this shit. People love cave diving. There's a restaurant in Front Royal called Spelunkers. That's what a spelunker is. I love spelunkers. Anyways, I don't f***ing get cave diving though. A lot of people probably don't know the true dangers of going spelunking. The trend in general seems to reference the Nutty Putty cave incident of 2009, in which a man, John Edwards, became trapped and died in a Utah cave. But he's not the only fellow who's died cave diving. There's plenty of people who have died cave diving. First, we'll talk about the SCHRODERS Pants cave disaster, a 41-year entombment. In the anal recesses of caving incidents, few have left such a lasting impact, such as the tragedy that unfolded in SCHRODERS Pants Cave. It is a limestone cavern nestled in the rolling hills of Dolgeville, New York, just south of Schenectady. Schenectady's been stuck in my head for weeks. Someone help me, why can't I get that word out of my head? This limestone cavern was first explored in the 1950s by Herbert W. Schroeder and George A. Buck, two local high school teachers with a penchant for subterranean adventure. Insane people, it seems like. Now, these two high school teachers didn't exactly pass away from this cave diving adventure, and by that, I mean they didn't. The cave's peculiar name came from their exploratory venture in which Schroeder suffered the misfortune of tearing the seat of his trousers, in which that incident became a lighthearted anecdote, which resulted in the name SCHRODERS Pants. Stark contrast to the somber events that would later transpire in the depths of the SCHRODERS Pants cave. An absolute disaster. On February 13th, 1965, the cave's relatively benign reputation was shattered when James G. Mitchell, a 23-year-old scientist, embarked on his final expedition. The day's weather conditions were deceptively treacherous, temperatures hovered around freezing, and it created a dangerous environment within the cave system. Caves are complicated, by the way. The atmosphere in caves, it's just terrifying. Don't go in caves. Mitchell had descended into the cave, but decided to go back up when he was caught in a cascade of melting ice and snow. The temperature of the water coming down and the water in the cave, by the way, caves are so wet, it's confusing, honestly. The temperature of that water was between 34 and 38 degrees Fahrenheit, it's believed. And as soon as this weather hit Mitchell, his light went out, his hands froze up, and all of his knots and climbing gear were no longer effective. And he got stuck 8 feet from the exit of the cave. The young scientist found himself stranded on a rope, unable to ascend or descend, trapped in a vertical prison of limestone and frigid air. Mitchell frantically yelled for his friends to pull him up. However, after a few attempts, they could not get him up, and there were multiple attempts to save Mitchell, but he succumbed to hypothermia, with his body suspended in the unforgiving darkness of the cave, SCHRODERS Pants. This one is particularly sad because this guy wasn't really taking a massive risk, you know, it was just the nature of the situation in which poor weather caused a calamity and he couldn't get out. There was a waterfall as well. Water started coming in the hole. It was just a terrible circumstance overall. He wasn't trying to get in a really tight spot and he got stuck. He just was unlucky, very unlucky. After Mitchell passed, body recovery efforts started. Even a specialized team from Washington, D.C. came in aboard Air Force Two, and for days, rescuers struggled against the unforgiving terrain and water with repeated collapses, complicating access. They just couldn't retrieve his body, and the narrow passages ultimately proved impassable. They could not get to Mitchell, and the grim reality set in. They eventually decided to use dynamite to entomb James inside of the cave and close it forever. And for 41 years, SCHRODERS Pants Cave remained sealed, which was a silent monument to the tragedy that had unfolded within its confines. And the story of James Mitchell became a cautionary tale passed down through generations of cavers and local residents. However, in 2006, a new chapter of the story of SCHRODERS Pants Cave began to unfold. Christian Lyon, the grandson of one of the cave's original discoverers, sought and received permission from Mitchell's family to attempt to recover his remains. It was obviously still a massive challenge, but with better planning, they were eventually able to recover his remains. I think They scattered his remains at a drop-off deeper in the cave that was impossible to get to when James first tried to get in there, but you know, time passes, caving equipment gets way better. They started wearing helmets and shit. People got real good at cave diving, I tell you what. It seemed like mid-2000s there. Today, James' legacy is cemented in the spelunking community with the James G. Mitchell Award, which is given to brave spelunkers who follow James' footsteps. Now, I might sound like I'm kind of clowning on all this stuff, and I am a little bit. I think it's dumb to cave dive, but I'm very well aware that a lot of people love this and are incredibly passionate about this, and I have a lot of respect for that. Next is the fatal climb of Joe Ivy. Even the most experienced caving, spelunking explorers are not immune to the perils that lurk in the depths. At least there's no monsters down there, though. At least nobody's ever been ripped up by a monster. Joe Ivy, a renowned caver with decades of expertise, faced a challenge that pushed his skills to the limit and ultimately ended his own life. Joe began his caving career at the age of 16 with the San Antonio Grotto and quickly established himself as a respected figure in the caving community. He was known for his strength, leadership, and expertise in vertical and cave rescue techniques. Joe contributed significantly to the exploration and surveying of numerous caves throughout the United States and Mexico. His accomplishments included leading the exploration of Pozo de Montemar, which according to our sources is the deepest cave in northern Mexico at 515 meters. That's deep. That's not a cave, that's a little ant tunnel. What's the point? What if it closes off? I mean, I guess it's just like the thrill, right? I don't know. This seems scary to me. Along with Mr. Ivy's reputation growing, so did his commitment to advancing caving techniques and safety measures. This guy genuinely contributed to a safer environment for cave explorers around the world. He developed a self-belay system for climbing that incorporated a Kong slide, which is a shock-absorbing device designed to allow static rope to behave dynamically during a fall. He sounds like a wizard, to be honest. That innovation, whatever you want to call it, was intended to absorb the energy of a falling climber, potentially saving the lives of them in a treacherous cave environment. In September of the year 2000, Joe Ivy embarked on a climb in 09 Well Cave, which was a familiar location to him where he planned to utilize his self-belay system along with removable bolts, aka RBs. These RBs are reusable camming devices that can be placed into drilled holes, and they were a part of Ivy's strategy for more efficient climbing. However, the combination of these techniques and equipment would prove fatal. As Joe explored the cave, he employed his self-belay system and the RBs to secure his position, and the cave's challenging vertical passages required careful navigation and precise placement for equipment. But unbeknownst to him, the conditions within the 09 Well Cave would expose critical flaws in his climbing strategy. The accident report revealed that Joe's self-belay system was flawed due to the use of a static rope, which lacks the stretch to absorb energy during a fall, and when he fell, the full force of the impact was transferred to his anchor points and body, and the removable bolts, which were weakened by mud and water, failed under the extreme stress, which led to the system's catastrophic failure. Obviously, he died from this. He fell deep into a cave, and eyewitnesses... Sorry. Oh... He fell deep into the cave. That's just it's just crazy. I can't imagine being his family or something. Eyewitnesses described the rescue operation in the 09 Well Cave as grueling, with the once familiar passages turning into a treacherous obstacle course for the experts trying to recover Joe's body. Ivy's death deeply impacted the caving community and prompted a reevaluation of the self-belay systems that we explained, and reinforced the importance of using dynamic ropes instead of static ropes to help prevent problems like this. So even the most skilled divers are vulnerable to equipment failures and unpredictable cave conditions. It's an incredibly dangerous sport. Hey man, no more RBs out there, okay? And get you a dynamic rope on your self-belay, okay? Oh, and then there's the Nutty Putty cave incident. You can watch videos of people nutty puttying it up, and it's just mind-boggling. This is where it becomes comedy. I don't feel bad for you, really. You're going in this motherfucker, dude. You are crazy. Firstly, why would you ever go down this cave for the first time just expecting to find an area big enough to turn around in? What did you sent a rat down there and then trust it? How'd you find that out? I don't get it. Anyways, imagine being trapped upside down in complete darkness in a cave so tight that you can't even move your arms. And eventually, every breath feels more and more shallow. Your heartbeat pounds in your neck and your ears, and the walls press against you, and your chest slow and suffocating you. It's horrible. It's not just a nightmare, not just your worst fear. It is the horrifying final moments of John Edward Jones in Utah's Nutty Putty Cave, with an accident so tragic that even the cave itself was sealed forever. On November 24th, 2009, John Edward Jones, a 26-year-old medical student and experienced spelunker, ventured into the Nutty Putty Cave with his brother Josh and a group of his family and friends. Nutty Putty was notorious for its tight, twisting passageways, which required even skilled cavers to squeeze through dangerously small tunnels. Like rats. Now, it had been closed already. It wasn't open. It was not open. It had been closed years prior due to multiple rescues, including a 16-year-old Brock Clark who got stuck upside down in Nutty Putty for 14 hours in 2004. So it's not like it was this, this is a safe, fun cave for the whole family. No, it's closed. Don't go there. Don't go to the Nutty Putty, man. Don't slide in the Satan's bunghole or whatever the it's called. Nutty Putty's a fun name for a terrible cave. Look at this. The crack, Pat's climb, the helmet eater, the big room, the maze, entrance, big slide, birth canal, Ed's push, scout eater, aorta crawl, vein alley. How about suck it? That cave, dude. This shit is so scary that it makes my balls tingle whenever I even think about. I'm not even claustrophobic, and it freaks me the out. Why would you ever want to do that? Apparently, this cave was considered a good cave for beginners because there are some parts of it that are nice, but the cave system also has incredibly difficult and tight passageways that would make the average person nauseous. You know what I'm saying? For example, the birth canal, the aorta crawl, and vein alley are all quite tight locations. If it is a good cave for beginners, then experienced cavers like the Jones brothers should have no issues. They navigated the cave. John decided to explore an infamous section called the birth canal, which is a narrow tunnel that challenges cavers to squeeze through its impossibly tight confines. You gotta twist and contort your body. Dude, what? I'm a little small guy. What's that little pit stain right there? What the fuck? I'm a little tiny dude. I'm really thin. I'm like a really narrow person. So I feel like I could fit through most birth canals. Just kidding. But I still don't feel comfortable squeezing through a damn cave called the birth canal. I mean, that's fucked up. In most situations, cavers rely on strength to pull yourself. Having some kind of traction, you pull yourself, you remain calm, you fit to the spot, and then you can kind of like work your way through it. But in this instance, you have to contort your body to get around an incredibly tight turn. You can't just rely strictly on strength. So you have to stay calm. John made a deadly mistake. Thinking he had found the right passage, he instead entered an uncharted crevice no wider than a football and 18 inches high. I mean, let's just get an idea of what that looks like. No wider than a football and 18 inches high. Are you kidding me? He went into that, and then it got smaller than a football and 18 inches high, and the walls began closing in on him, unfortunately for him. John kept pushing forward, not knowing he was in an uncharted part of the cave system, thinking that surely he'd eventually emerge somewhere and he could turn around, but he eventually realized that he couldn't turn around. He attempted to back out, and in doing so, he slipped even deeper, head first at a terrifying 70-degree angle. His arms were pinned at his side. His chest was compressed so tightly that he could barely breathe. His brother Josh was the first to reach him. He tried pulling John out. It was not possible. The passageway was too narrow, and John's position made leverage nearly non-existent. Rescuers arrived within hours and quickly assessed the situation. Conditions, they were brutal. John was trapped in an uncharted, almost unreachable section of the cave, which made traditional rescue methods impossible, especially considering the potential fact that would-be rescuers would have to navigate the same tight passageways he did to get to him and hopefully not become stuck, because there's not really a good way to turn around in this place. For over 27 agonizing hours, more than 100 rescuers worked to free him, and they devised an elaborate pulley system, drilling bolts into the rocks to create an anchor, and inch by inch, they managed to pull John upward, but then there was another disaster. One of the pulleys suddenly snapped loose, and it sent John back down into the crevice even deeper than before. It was a catastrophic setback, and the rescuers, now exhausted, lost precious progress and John's condition deteriorated rapidly at that point. His heart was under immense stress from being upside down for so long and being unable to breathe. His breath had become shallow, and he had trouble breathing for hours before this setback. It's unknown if the setback caused an injury that led to his death, or the stress of the situation caused his vitals to stop, or if the unnatural angle of his body created difficulties with his heart and pumping blood. I mean, your heart is a natural system. Like, yeah, it's sitting down is bad for you and can cause blood clots. I can't imagine being trapped in a crevice. Eventually, John did succumb to the cave and passed away, and the rescue mission was called off. It was agreed upon by both John's family and the rescue officials that attempted to recover his body that the effort should be abandoned and the cave would be sealed with his body still within. And the Nutty Putty Cave incident became John's tomb, and a permanent memorial was placed at the cave's entrance. I can't believe that people still go into caves. I mean, yeah, obviously no hate. I still have a massive amount of respect for people who want to live life in their own ways that they find value and meaning and stuff. I just don't get it. I'm a total goober loser, dude. I would rather just sit in my office all day and make sound. What is mind-boggling and doesn't make any sense about this is how many people got stuck and had to be rescued from that cave, from that exact cave. In July, we mentioned Brock Clark, the 16-year-old who was trapped briefly, but there were many others. On July 29th, 1999, 2 Salt Lake teenagers got stuck and required rescue after being trapped for several hours. March 20th, 2001, 2 13-year-old Boy Scouts were pulled from the birth canal section of the Nutty Putty Cave after being trapped for hours. This cave, dude. What the It's like climbing Everest, maybe. Is that what it's like, fellow cave divers? I'm not a cave diver. Is that what it's like, cave divers? I genuinely, earnestly want to know what the motivation is. Are there levels to it? It seems like there's levels to it. He's like, I'll go on a hike. I'm not going to climb fucking Everest. I don't give a fuck. Why would I care about that, dude? I don't give a fuck about climbing a big mountain. Cool. Don't you know we're all going to die? I'd rather spend as much time with my Mia Familia as I possibly can and have as many babies as I possibly can, Elon Musk style. Just kidding. That's terrible. He's not a good father. I want to be a good father. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed, press the like button down below. Go to the second channel, watch some slop. Go to the third channel, watch some game dev slop. Go to the Gump Club to see uncensored videos, and sour.gg to buy some candy. We make our own candy with natural dyes and natural flavors. It is a good alternative to the shit you buy in the stores. It's still shit. It's still candy, all right? You shouldn't eat it super often, but it is a good snack. Sugar, you know? It's okay, it's energy, whatever, but be wary, brush your teeth, etc.